followed up by a second vaccine. So if you have children who are 8 or 9 or 10 years old who have not previously had a flu shot of any kind, the recommendations that are coming out is that they'll get the regular flu shot. 3 weeks later, they'll get their booster on their regular annual flu shot. 3 weeks later, they'll get their swine flu shot. And 3 weeks after that, they'll get their booster of their swine flu shot. And then we'll see how many kids can actually function in school this year, as if it isn't already bad enough. And they're recommending that for kids 6 months of age and older. So, you know, the adults are supposed to get 3 to get their annual seasonal and a swine flu booster. They haven't had a previous one. They're supposed to get 4. I just think, it's people there that all that's in there is a little dead virus and a little sterile. What harm is it going to cause? And what we're doing is causing a massive amount of problems in children and adults. And everybody needs to just get informed about this. Go to pandemicfluonline.com. Go to drtenpenny.com, download the information and pass it out to your school. Let the teachers know it. Let the people in your daycare know it. Put the principals on notice that you're not going to have that happening to your children in your school system. It's the only way that we're going to be able to stop this from all these vaccines happening in schools this year.
And Doc, that's my next 2 points. Is we had big victories in 2002, 2003. We had victories before, but they've been pre-flu hype. They didn't have that with the smallpox. They just used 9/11 saying we just got hit a year ago. We're sure Al-Qaeda is going to use smallpox. People didn't buy that. But people have had the flu and know it really feels bad and know sometimes. So that's why this is so much more effective. That's why this fight is so important. So speak to... Our only recourse, I guess, is to educate, is to warn people, is to spread the word like our lives depend on it. With the articles at Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, Global Research has done a huge compendium article that's incredibly good. We've got linked up on Infowars.com. So, educate everybody. We've got a fighting chance.
I have a stack of flyers that I carry around with me in my purse and in the back of my car because I take them into everywhere. I say, here, and I've gone down the street by where my office is, and I've stopped with these flyers. It's the truth about the flu shot, and you can get it off of my website, and it's all over the Internet. And I don't even engage it with them in conversation. I just walk in and say, good morning, good afternoon, how are you? Here's some information I think you might be an interest in looking at, and turn around and walk out. So you don't have to stand there and debate anybody. And the worst that's going to happen is nothing. They throw it in the trash. But you never know whose hands that might end up in that might really make a difference. Your police department, your first responders, your sheriff, all these people need to know that you don't want this and that they may not even know what's going to be in it. And once they know, well, you know what? And suddenly you've got an entire community.
Expanding on what you're saying, printing up a nice flyer, using your flyer, printing up Prison Planet articles, Global Research, a lot of good boil downs out there. Our story about FEMA, the flu, FEMA, martial law, mass graves. That has a nice boil down of facts. People are really interested in the flu right now. They instinctively know something's wrong, something doesn't add up. They are begging for this information. Go to Kinko's or FedExO's or whatever it's called now, and for $100 you could print up 5,000 1 or 2 sheets. For $20 you can print up, thousands. Get it out to people, and that isn't of Parkinson's at 25.
Light up the immune systems in the brain, and it causes them to deteriorate, and that's why we're seeing so many young people now with ADD, ADHD. All the adults with ADHD, we can label them with so that we can give them more psychotropic drugs like Effexor and Paxil and all of these things. I think that, I've said for years, Alex, that I think that the vaccine industry is really the economic loss leader of the entire pharmaceutical industry. It's, it's the idea that of a loss leader is you come into my store, I'll give you a free T-shirt, and oh, by the way, while you're here, spend a couple $100. So the economic loss leader of being vaccines is I'll give you this shot. It doesn't really cost me a whole lot of money, even though it is a $10 billion a year industry, but that's a pittance compared to other things. I'll give you the shot under the umbrella of keeping you healthy. We got to keep these kids from, oh, by the way, I'll make billions of dollars on all the drugs I need to sell you down the line after your 6th shot.
To the same standard. They can kill whoever they want, hurt whoever they want, because it's proprietary. and very secretly in it, cover for the soft kill. It's the perfect cover for the sterilization. The UN's been caught, as you know, adding the female hormone to the tetanus shot that then sterilized the women, only in a program for women that was pushed as feminism. Oh, we're only helping women, and because that weapon wouldn't have hurt a man. It was designed for a woman. I mean, this is diabolical, and the way they want to set the precedent to put in our body what they want when they want. You know about all these new live viral vaccines that are really live-action genetic engineer operations. I've had top genetic engineers on with the, quote, cures you from cocaine or nicotine or heroin addiction. Can you speak to those classes of things called vaccines that are really nanobly engineered weapons?
Yeah, they are. That's really, you summed it up really well, Alex. And they are DNA vaccines that are coming down the pike, and now they're talking about edible vaccines, that there's vaccines that are going to be in potatoes and carrots. There's a vaccine that they have considered doing in Africa that is spread by mosquitoes. I mean, it gets
That's Bill Gates.
It gets more like a grade B sci-fi movie all the time. And it would be really kind of funny if it wasn't so diabolical.
Well, that's Bill Gates, the eugenicist, who now they've total given over $100 billion. I was saying 80-something billion. It's gone up. Him and Warren Buffett, they're all supporting Planned Parenthood.
You would think, Alex, from everything, there would be nobody left who would believe that vaccines are safe, they protect you, they're harmless, and they're good for you. But we've got 100 years of indoctrination that people really believe that vaccines are good. They really will keep me from getting sick. And you know, the FDA and the government wouldn't that might harm me. And so the undoing that in people's psyche is taking a long, long time. But I think that pretty soon we're going to reach the 100th monkey here. I really do. And I think that there's going to be a 100th monkey phenomenon when all of a sudden everybody's going to go, holy cow. And they're all going to wake up at the same time. And honestly, Alex, I think that's what the government's most fearful of. Because of radio, because of the Internet, because of webinars, because of all of these technologies that we have an exponential waking up curve that's happening unseen in the last 5 to 7 years. It's happening really fast. And so there's a line of like, control all those people. We can't keep them in the dark if suddenly they're all awake. Suddenly ramp a 400-year pathway that they've had in terms of taking over the world. And we have to do it really quick, because if we don't do it soon, there's going to be so many people awake that are going to revolt that we're not going to be able to be. I'm hoping we'll be successful.
Dr. Sherri Tenpenny, you just hit it out of the park right there. You just said it all. They are behind schedule. People clearly have accelerated every program. The gun grabbing, the carbon tax, the banking takeover, the open borders, the wars. I mean, they are...
in a panic. In a bit of a panic.
Well, my dad did exterminating in college to raise money, and he'd go into the bad part of town to kill roaches. And he said it's true. When you spray roaches with poison, they start fornicating. And that's kind of what the elites are doing. They realize that they're losing, and so they're just going wild. You know, I forgot to even toot your horn, Doctor, because who I have on proven to be accurate. And you wrote a book a few years ago about how they would use a flu as a pretext to take over. And I've read the book. It is almost like prophecy. And you were telling me during the break that sometimes you can't believe you wrote this. I mean, you know, I have that same feeling when I make these films and project what I think they're going to do. To be exactly right is really scary.
It is scary. And when I go back and I read it, and I read the chapter about mandatory vaccination, is it possible? When I read about the last chapter about, you know, tying it all together, how is it that sick birds and sick people and vaccines, and how did this all come about? I read it now and I think, I can't believe I wrote this. This was like prophecy. I wrote it into it. It's very much about what's going on with the swine flu right now. It's exactly the same. And people can get it off of my website. It's at drtenpenny.com. It's actually even on sale, right? There's no reason everybody shouldn't have it.
Well, I mean, in the book you say, are they mixing it in with the vaccine? And then we catch Baxter at 18 locations with the big vats. And then, thank God, somebody in the Czech Republic tested it on ferrets, and it killed them. Mm-hmm. And then separately, they won't say who the company is, but it says they had bird flu trials, London Telegraph says, that killed a bunch of people. But it says it was a pharma company, paid off officials to lie and give it to homeless. But it doesn't say it's Baxter. Do you have any intel on who that really is?
No, I don't. Not right now. Not off the top of my head, but I'll bet you if we look long enough, we'll find it.
Well, I mean, they arrested all the city officials in just one country. Why won't they scene company us?
Probably have dirt on it, threaten their children or something. They're not, again, they've killed off a lot of scientists to put somebody on notice that if you talk, something not good is going to happen to your family.
Doc, I know you've got to go do an international conference call with some doctors. When is a good time for my producer to call you? Because I know it's a book, Sending a Crew.
You can call after 3 o'clock today. The call is for an hour, and I will be after the call today fighting to be part of the movement of what you're doing, Alex, because you're really making a difference, and I really want to thank you for all the work that you do.
Well, I want to thank you. We'll call you at 3 your time in 1 hour, 3 minutes sharp,
okay.
And we'll set up to send a crew. I'm almost out of personnel. I've got only 2 crews, and one of them's gone, and the other crew just got back from California. Doctor, we salute you. We'll talk to you in 1 hour and 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you so much, Alex. Take care.
Thank you.